Yes, Lord. Welcome to Geek and News Network. It's your host, Fetty Lotto, here to put a stain on your brain and bring you some news you can use. If you're new to the channel, like, share, and subscribe. Let's vibe. All right, listen, right? This little segment gonna be on the orisha and the Anunnaki, and are they the same beings? I never thought they was the same beings, to be honest with you. But like last year around this time, I swear to God, bro. Last year around this time, I was in New York. I was, going through some shit or whatever. Had to go back to New York from Atlanta. And I was on like, my spiritual shit, like trying to get back aligned and all that. Cause I was going through it, like lost everything, all types of shit. So I had to go back home and get with Mama Love, man, and get that Mama Love, you know what I'm saying? And we spiritual people, man. So she had me like taking spiritual baths and doing this, doing that. And I had a dream of an alien invasion. And when the aliens descended, they was the Orisha. It was the Orisha. It was Ishu, Ogun, Chango, um, Yamaya, Oshun. Like they descended and they was talking to us. They was talking to me and my moms and the scene. Like when they came, they descended down in the projects, and then we ended up in a house that we never lived in. I mean, in an apartment that we never lived in that project, but we did live in a project. It was like definitely, where I'm from, but we never lived in that building, in that apartment. But we was in there, we lived there, and the Orishas was in there, talking to us, chopping it up, like we wasn't afraid. None of that. I was just amazed by it, like, damn, this is. But I say that to say this, that how one of them dreams like stay with you and it's like a message or something in it. I never knew what the message was in that dream, but it was a dream that I'll probably never forget. It stayed with me. And it just made me think, like, because once I ran across this content right here that the Risha and the Anunnaki are the same beings, it kind of made sense to me. Like, damn, like, was that what my dream was telling me? I mean, I know it wasn't like the whole thing or what it was telling me, but along those lines, like, the Orisha may not be just straight spiritual beings like, we believe. Maybe they are the Anunnaki. And maybe that's them coming back on the 3-Eye Atlas. But let's get into this contact, man, see what boy talking about.
This is your metaphysical advisor, Montre Bible. No, I'm not doing a reading right now. I want to talk about the Orisha and the Anunnaki. That's going to be my topic of discussion today. For those who may not be familiar, the Orisha are the African powers. I give honor to the Orisha. I love the stories behind them.
Ashe.
They have a lot to do with the creation of mankind and empowering ourselves. Um, Especially when we venerate them and give them honor, they help us and assist us. At the same time, the Anunnaki are stories about the old gods, the gods that created mankind, and I want to compare the two and show how similar they are and possibly the same beings. And a lot of people are like, no, the Anunnaki are not the Orisha. The Orisha are not the Anunnaki. I don't want to hear that. I'm comparing the two. So this is what this video is about. If you've already got your mind made up about who they are, you don't have to watch the video. But I wanted to compare first some few main ones. So the first one we have is Obatala. And Obatala is the one who supposedly formed mankind. He not only formed mankind, he basically formed the world and created the world that we know, the physical world. So Obatala comes from excuse me if I misspeak it. Olodumare.
Gas up for this.
He comes from Olodumare, who was supposed to be like the Sky Father. Okay? And so, how does that compare to the Anunnaki? There's a very similar connection with that. We have Inki or Ea, who creates mankind. He was the one who formed mankind and figured it out and created mankind to serve the gods. And Inki, his father, is Anu. Anu is from the sky. So Anu never really interacts with mankind as well as Olodumare never really interacts with mankind. He's always up above. So Anu and Olodumare are pretty much kind of the same iconography, the same type of being who exists in his own realm, does not really interact with mankind. But Obatala is the one who creates mankind and interacts with mankind. As same as Inki had a very special relationship with mankind as well, because he created mankind and formed mankind in his image. And it's like, okay, look, he really had a passion for mankind. At the same time, they both have brothers. Obatala has Ododuwa as his brother, who took over as the chief, as the chief god. Well, I won't call them gods. Orisha are not really called gods, but he took over. Okay, Ododuwa was given authority. At the same time, if we flip and look at the Anunnaki stories, Inki, even though he created a lot of the stuff that we see on the planet and formed the world and created mankind, he wasn't given dominion over the entire world.
Let me stop that real quick. He said he don't call them gods. Oh shit, that's a mistake. I think. They definitely are gods, and I feel like we are gods. So they are gods, and we are the same. Let's get back into it.
His brother Enlil was given dominion over the world. So we have the same story here. So it makes me think, okay, either one story came from, either we pulled the Anunnaki star from the Orisha, or the Orisha pulled the Orisha stories from the Anunnaki stories, one of the two. So there's a lot of similarities that makes me believe that these beings existed. And I call them beings because we are related to them. The Anunnaki created mankind. They just didn't create just one man and one woman. No, they created men. They created a whole bunch of men, first the men first, then they decided they were going to create female prototypes to keep mankind going, to procreate, so they didn't have to keep recreating men over and over and over, because it's a lot of work to do that. And it's not efficient. So this is where we get the whole creation of man. And also for people who are always wondering and always had that question about the Cain and Abel story, when Cain kills his brother, which is also another Egyptian story, which is very similar to that. And I don't want to go into detail about that, but Cain kills Abel and then finds a wife outside. Everybody's like, well, where did he get a wife? It was because what the Holy Bible doesn't really tell you, it doesn't go into depth. The Holy Bible is a very shorter version of a very large story. So it doesn't tell you that men were already created and then they created Adam and Eve after that. If you look in the Bible, it does tell you, it does repeat that man was created twice. You have to really pay attention to it. It says, God created mankind. Then it goes into another story of God creating Adam and Eve. People think it's the same thing. It's not. So this is.
That's another thing too, man. These stories is all in the Bible. It's just the way that most people interpret the Bible is just totally wrong, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not one of them people that profess to know it all or to know any motherfucking thing. I just know what I know. And I ain't here trying to push my beliefs on nobody. We don't do that over here at Geek News Network. We just get the information and give our opinion on the information and, take it and do as you will with it. That's it.
This is where people get confused and they don't understand. But I digress. There I go on those tangents. My whole thing is that I believe that the Orisha and the Anunnaki are the same, one and the same. And that we come from these beings, they created mankind. Are they gods? Are they really? Not so sure, because they're actually physical beings.
I'm gonna say this again. Yes, they are gods. Of course, they are gods, and they might be higher beings than us, or at least from what we know, what we could do. But we are gods. We was made in the image and likeness. You know what I'm saying? As they say in the Bible, we was made in the image and likeness of God, and would that make us? That's good.
Uh, well, we can give them honor, and and I think they have the ability not only to live longer, but to transcend dimensions, which not only allows them to live longer, but their energy, we can communicate with them uh, through the dimensions or wherever dimension that they exist in, because it's not third dimension. They obviously don't exist in third dimension, the lower level, which is where we as men, as mankind, children of the sun, we exist in third dimension right now. But we know that we're ascending to higher levels, and perhaps when we ascend to those higher levels, we'll be able to physically see them, um, at least with our eyes, and interact with them as we once did back in the olden days where mankind walked with God. There's also Inanna, the female Venus Ishtar kind of character. Um, she is comparable with Oshun because Oshun is the goddess of the river. There is a mother Anunnaki too, where that is very similar to Yamaya. I can't recall her name, but there is a mother one. Um, but she actually assisted Inky in creating mankind. I'll have to Google what her name was. It's something hard, but they called her Mama. It's where we get the word Mama from. But gosh, what was her name? Let's see if I can Google that real quick for you guys. Anunnaki mother goddess female. And see if I can get some information. But Ishtar, Oshun, and Inanna, um, very similar. Oshun is the goddess of the river. There's a lot of, um, well, there's more Greek mythology of talking about Venus coming from the waters. So that makes a lot of sense, you know. I think the stories with Inanna was that she was first human. I think she was human first, if I get that correct, and then she became a goddess. I think, or she was the granddaughter of Anu. But I think she was part human, which makes me believe um, of the ascension. She was able to ascend into godhood, which is why she didn't have much dominion, and she's always was warring to have her own lands or her own people, which makes her sound a lot like
Jesus.
goddess Kali, because she was also a warrior.
That sound like the Jesus story. Like, wasn't his father God? Wasn't God Jesus' father? So he was half God and half human, and he was able to ascend into whatever he ascended to. It sounds similar. Yeah, let me know.
So there's a lot of stories about female goddesses always battling, but being about love, but also destruction. So Noshun is not one to play with either. Even though she's the orisha of love, she has a jealous streak. Yeah, you don't mess with her. But gosh, what is her name? Uh, I my whole thing is that I really seriously believe that these beings uh, that created mankind are a part of our ancestral heritage. They're a part of our lineage. Um,
Is she texting someone behind your back? A single Spokio search
Of course she
can
is.
find out who she's messaging. Spokio can also help.
Pardon me, God.
so many stories about them and their interactions. Especially our lineage starts with Noah, really, if you think about it, because all the pre-Noah humans, most of them were destroyed during the Great Deluge. So most of our heritage comes from any stories about Noah. Now, there's many stories about Noah. There's Atrahasis, there's Utnapishtim, Zasudra, all these stories about the flood and the survivors of the flood. We are the descendants of the survivors of the Great Deluge. And in the Book of Enoch,
I just want to say this, man. Like, share, and subscribe to the Geeker News Network. You can come over here and learn some shit. That's what we doing, man. This shit about critical, elevated thinking. That's all I want to inspire people to do, is be critical, elevated thinkers. And, you know, it takes a lot to be a critical, elevated thinker. Let's get into this Dre OG content, right, real quick. It's one of the big dogs in this space right here, man. I fuck with Dre OG. He always coming with some fire content, man. Y'all go over there and check him out.
Bruh, I can't make this shit up. I left old Cliff and took a quick trip down to stop 6 to go hit a lick, and I instantly noticed a big ass moon that was red as a bitch. And as I passed through downtown, I noticed that the moon was damn near touching the motherfucking ground. So I said fuck it and decided to follow this bitch for a few miles. Following my dumb ass tried to do the dash from a quarter at the same time and damn near wrecked that bitch on my mama. So now I pull up at Taco Bell like, nigga, what the hell? Because if you look right about there, you'll notice that the so-called moon is obviously in our motherfucking atmosphere. It was so low that motherfucker was scraping the top of the trees on my mama.
Hey, yo, I'm gonna upload videos on my page of that shit right there. That's a fact. I seen that. I got recordings of that shit in broad daylight and at night.
This shit was so goddamn big and red, we had to pull the fuck over. And then I noticed a weird ass glare that was green that took over my whole motherfucking screen. But anyway, I continued to slide down to the south side, and I pulled the fuck up, and I just so happened to witness a red drone descend from the bottom of this big red ass floating planet that's supposed to be the moon. And then 2 more of these motherfuckers pop out and just started surrounding the entire ghetto, just swarming us on my mama. And then I noticed Foden right there almost fucked up and crashed into Big Homie up top. But Big Homie must have had his pilot license because he got some extraordinary aviation skills, because he got out the way ASAP and let Foden just slide by. Now I'm like, fuck it and hop back in the bucket. So now I'm dashing through the traffic on the way back to Dallas. But when I pull up at my next destination, I see that same red ass moon. But it ain't full. This bitch a crescent now. And then
A lot of y'all been seeing this too. Tap in if y'all been seeing this. Tap in, get in the comment section and let me know if y'all been seeing these orbs and this weird shit that it's disguised as the moon, but it's really not. Tap in, man, if y'all been noticing, things in the sky. Put it in the comment section, like China Brim say. Put it in the comment section.
out of motherfucking nowhere, I see a mob of white clouds coming from the west that had other little circle clouds descending from the middle of it. And then I realized that every single circle cloud that flew past the moon also ascended into that motherfucker. So after everybody got ascended and they was finished handling their business, the moon just disappeared into the distance. And then just like that bitch came right the fuck back. But this time they dropped off a UFO with a green flashing light. And whoever was the pilot decided to say, fuck that, I ain't hiding, I'm sliding on my mama. So he pulled off like a boss. So after that, I decided to zoom in on the moon. So now I can see the full shape of this big bitch. And you can clearly tell that it's a full circle. And as I'm looking through my third eye, I realized that this ain't no motherfucking moon. My nigga, that's a mothership dropping off other ships from the bottom of that bitch. You can see the fire coming out that hole and everything. Bitch, I know you see that motherfucking circle with them holographic lights coming out the bottom of that hole. So after I decided to pull the fuck off and keep it moving, then I noticed that the moon started shapeshifting. The motherfucking colors even started changing on that bitch. It went from blue to red within seconds. So I stop again and pull the fuck up at Chick-fil-A with no delay. And I catch the moon clocking in, and then it just clocked the fuck out. And then it clocked in again, and then it clocked right the fuck back out. And then it did it again, and again. And then this motherfucker had the nerve to change colors again. So after it shapeshift back into the blue moon, it clocked out and clocked back in again. So now I'm like, wait a minute, hold the fuck up. When the fuck did the moon start making its own work schedule? And when the fuck did it get the ability to change colors when it felt like it? The answer is never, nigga, because that's not the motherfucking moon. Now, folks, I ain't gonna even hold y'all. I know exactly what that motherfucker is. But I can't disclose that information because if I did, they'd start sending me death threats and try to shut my page down again. So due to that fact, I'm gonna just leave this right here and just leave it up to my TikTok astronomers to jump in the comments and let y'all know what the fuck
Hey, listen. The Anunnaki and the Orisha may be one of the same or they working together. And my dream was telling me that they here and they are in the hood. They in the hood. They blending in amongst us. Where else they gonna blend in at? We are made in their image and likeness. They gotta come to the hood. They gotta descend in the hood and blend in with us. They don't know who the fuck is who right now. The government on high alert probably, man. They don't know who. I could be one, you could be one. They don't know who is who. We could be infiltrating all type of pop culture, gang bang culture, all that shit, and be the Anunnakis and the Orisha and the ancestors, man, that fought for something. They know this, but they don't know who it is, man. They looking for the avatar. Staying on your brain, knows you could use, man. That's what the dream meant. That's crazy. Doing this reaction, or this is not even a reaction video. This is just like a vibe, educational, spiritual video, pardon me. And that shit just came to me, bro. I got it download. They here, man, and they in the hood. You might be one.
That big red motherfucker is on my mama.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God, they make.
But with that right there, man, I'm gonna get out of here. Round of applause, man, for another successful show. Geeker News Network. Tapping with your boy, man, Fetty Lotto.
Let's get straight to it.
I can hear my mama now, go on, baby, pop your shit.
I can hear my mama now, go on, baby, pop your shit. I can hear my brother right now, fuck them nigga, talk that shit. Old gossiping ass niggas, what y'all out here gossiping about today? Since y'all love pocket watching, nigga, I did a 200 ball today.